And today we are finally getting back to social studies. The topic today is Finding Texas, Exploration in New Lands. So this is a bit of a different lesson. We're actually reading excerpts from a fourth grade book from our curriculum. It's pretty short, but it just gives us lots of background on the beginnings of our Texas history. The link is right here in the presentation, but it'll also be linked in the assignment for you to see as well. What happens when you click this is we go to these pages. I snipped them directly from the digital copy so that we could go over them now. So we're just going to read through some of this information. Just make sure you're listening, catch some of these details as we go. So, long ago in Texas, the New World. For thousands of years, American Indians were the only residents of Texas. Many different tribes lived in the state's forests, prairies, mountains, and plains. They survived by hunting, gathering, and farming. Each tribe had its own distinct culture, but they shared a deep respect for the land. In the 1500s, visitors began arriving in Texas. These visitors were explorers from Europe. Some had sailed across the Atlantic Ocean for adventure. Others were looking for gold. Many explorers wanted the glory of claiming new lands for their countries. European countries were competing for land in the New World. Rulers wanted to extend their empires across the ocean. They also wanted the New World's riches, such as fur and gold. Spain, France, and England started colonies in North America. England claimed the east coast of America. France settled parts of Canada and the northern part of America. Spain claimed the Caribbean islands, Mexico, and the American South. Spain's claims included modern-day Texas, but in the 1680s, a Frenchman explored the region. Suddenly, Texas was the center of a power struggle between two strong empires. Different section here. First, residents. Many believe that the first Americans came from Asia thousands of years ago. These ancient people were hunters. They tracked animals across a land bridge that connected Siberia and modern-day Alaska. Over time, the hunters spread out across North America. Some of them reached Texas. They developed new ways of life, hunting animals and gathering roots and berries. Other tribes invented ways to farm in the dry climate. The Cados were a tribe of farmers who lived in villages. The Spanish called them Tejas, from the Cado word for friend. This evolved into the name Texas. The Karankawas were fishers on the Gulf Coast. The Quahilticans, can't pronounce that very well, I was looking at the pronunciation there, sorry, were gatherers who lived along the lower Rio Grande. The Tonquah were nomadic hunters in central Texas. The Apache and the Comanche tribes were some of the last American Indians to migrate to Texas. The Apache arrived between AD 1000 and 1500 or 1500 and were farmers and hunters. The Comanche were once part of the Shoshone tribe of Wyoming. Some bands of Comanche began following herds of bison south. In the late 1600s, they arrived in Texas, shortly before the Spanish conquistadors. Different section again, moving forward here. Opening the door, Christopher Columbus. In the 1400s, more Europeans began to travel the world. Merchants made their way across a land route to the East Indies and discovered exotic goods. The spices, silk, pearls, and perfumes they brought back to Europe sold for high prices, and demand for these foreign goods increased. A faster route to the East Indies would bring a nation great wealth and power. Christopher Columbus was an Italian map maker with a unique idea. He believed he could reach the East Indies by sailing west from Europe. Spain's Queen Isabella was willing to take a chance on Columbus's strange plan, so she paid for his voyage. In 1492, Columbus sailed west from Spain. When he reached land, he thought he had found the East Indies. In reality, he had landed in the Bahamas. Despite his mistake, Columbus's journey was important. He changed the course of history. He was not the first European to visit the Western Hemisphere, but his contact forever connected the Old and New worlds. He went on to establish the first European colony on the island of Hispaniola. This opened the door for future Spanish colonization of the New World. So, mapping the Gulf Coast. Christopher Columbus died believing that he had found the fastest way to the East Indies. Most Europeans knew Columbus had not made it that far, and they were still eager to find a western route to the East Indies. In 1519, the Spanish governor of Jamaica sent an explorer to find that route. The explorer was a Spanish map maker named Alonso Alvarez de Pineda. Pineda led an expedition of 4 ships and 270 men. They were to explore the coast along the Gulf of Mexico between Florida and Mexico. Pineda hoped to find a strait or narrow channel of water to the Pacific Ocean. Pineda set sail from Jamaica in March 1519. Pineda and his crew were the first Europeans to see the Mississippi River and the territory of Texas. They claimed the land for Spain. On the Catholic feast day of Corpus Christi, Pineda and his crew explored a bay on the Texas coast. He called it Corpus Christi Bay, in honor of the religious holiday. During his voyage, Pineda mapped the Texas coastline. This map was the first document in Texas history.